Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are still trying to build up our economy. We've got a lot in the queue here. We're doing naval bases, and then we're doing just a whole huge industry expansion. We're doing a big coal expansion because that's going to be the basis of our of the increase in automation that we're going to be doing. By automation, that's just, I'm referring to the automator methods. It's really labor saving. It's not automation. Automation is just what we call this kind of thing these days. It's stuff like electric fences for farms and refrigerated rail cars for livestock ranches. All right, here we go. So this is the end of the Positivist Church. After a brief period of prominence, the positivist trend in Brazil has begun to decline as middle-class reformers seek other frameworks to analyze their problems. With its fading popularity, the Positivist Church will soon be regarded as just another ephemeral cult. For sale, Temple of Humanity, deconsecrated. Beautiful location in the heart of Rio de Janeiro, sturdy design and spacious. Can host hundreds of like-minded people for any gathering, perfect for an up-and-coming school, open for inquiries. Another grand design faded into obscurity, weaker intelligentsia, industrialists, and petite bourgeoisie. I don't necessarily want that. Or they will chase their impossible dreams forever. Oh, interesting. So I can keep the extra positivist characters by doing this second one. That's an interesting thing. That's a great question. Because positivism is good. No, I don't think I'm gonna. I'm gonna say, oh, but then I'll weaken my intelligentsia. I'll also weaken my petite bourgeoisie. We'll do the first one. Weakening the petite bourgeoisie and the industrialists, in addition to the intelligentsia, is okay because I've got the Conservative Republican Party as my primary party. All right, so then okay, oppressor and oppressed. As our industries have grown more and more crucial to the future of the Brazilian nation, so too has the working class. Disparate workers' movements have begun to unite under the cause of socialism. In the development of the modern industry, therefore, cuts from under the feet. The development of modern industry, therefore, cuts from under the feet its very foundation on which the bourgeoisie produces and appropriates products. What the bourgeoisie, therefore, produces above all are its own grave diggers. Its fall and the victory of the proletariat are equally inevitable. The storm approaches. 50% of labor or pops in Rio de Janeiro become more radical. Okay, so we've procced the specter haunting the world. Oil. Discovery of oil in Minister Ice. Excellent. Encourage this trend. Oil is the future. Blah, blah, blah. I love oil. Everyone loves oil. So, we got the specter haunting the world. It's expected to increase by 8.11. Okay, so interesting. I don't think I can reduce this because... Ooh, excellent. We're in study. I don't think I can reduce this because... this is... I gotta go for 35 months with this being negative. And with that huge buff from states in turmoil, I don't know that I can stop this. I've just got a lot of states. Okay, how can I focus on my states that are doing the best? Alright, here's what we'll try and do. We'll try and build up profitable industries in the places where there's a lot of turmoil to try to improve the standard of living in those areas and get what we need. Gosh, these are going to take so long. Okay, none in Antioquia, none in Zulia, none in Miranda, none in Bolivar, none in Amazonas. Okay, Cajamarca. Let's go with paper mills, textile mills, and we'll build oil rigs. Oil rigs pay well and build fast. So we'll put those at the top. And then where else have we got turmoil? Lima. Okay, another raising concerns event. Armed forces have expressed their concerns about government decisions clearly favoring the interests of the industrialists. Choosing is always hard, not because the decision is difficult to make, but because the consequences can be a bit inconvenient. Rumors are spreading like smoke from a factory, staining the clear air of Brazil with a dense and vicious poison. Everyone seems to be mad at the industrialists. I think the armed forces are just going to need to accept that we can't please everyone. Ooh, Mexican mass immigration. Wonderful. So Lima is another state where we've got... I already did Cajamarca, and now we're going to do Lima. It's another state where we've got turmoil. Okay, I've actually already got queued in. Are those the ones I just did? Those ones in Cajamarca. Okay, so I've got some stuff queued in for Lima in here already. Oh, maybe that's the private construction queue. Well, in any case, we'll piggyback on what they're doing. Oh no, those are the ones in Cajamarca. Those are the ones in Cajamarca. Alright, so a few more furniture manufactories, a few more tooling workshops, although the tooling workshops are not able to hire. So maybe that's a misplay. Furniture manufactories definitely, we'll build that up to rank 7. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize tools were so cheap. We gotta get more export routes for tools. In fact, let's put tools on export focus because, gosh, I did not realize those were... Tooling's usually an enormously productive industry. Let's see if the price of rubber is impacting it. Maybe a little bit. So we'll need to be cognizant of that. What about Ica? Ica is not in turmoil. La Paz is good to go. Accra is good to go. Arequipa is good to go. Alright, and then all of the... Oh, no, it's actually only a few of the states in former Chile are down bad with turmoil. A few in former Argentina as well. I don't know, though. This thing is going so fast. Well, it's going up less now. We're getting a debuff to the rise from increased policing and home affairs. If we can get regulatory bodies together, that's going to really, really help. In fact, if I have... See, I'm trying to figure out if I want to put new government admin at the top here, because at least a little bit. Just a little bit of government admin, because having higher government admin capacity will help me once this gets passed, which I hope it does soon. Come on, you can do it. Yes! Alright, we are in voting. If I can get this passed soon, that's going to be 74 days. That'll increase wages, and I can, if I've got the necessary buildings built... So actually, I should move these up to the top. I need too many things built too fast right now. It's really harshing my proverbial steez. It's harshing both my style and ease. Now, let's get these oil rigs built up first, and we'll let those other ones go, just so that we can get some stuff ready to go real fast, because that's really the goal of the development plan that we're currently working on. On account of Brazil being haunted. Haunted by the specter of communism. By the way, I'm just going to read you all this event as long as we're looking at it. The rising prevalence of socialist unrest within Brazil has begun to coalesce into a movement that threatens the rule of the upper classes. Struggle between classes has acquired a sharper edge as Brazilian workers adopt the methods and disciplines and principles of the socialist movement. The voices of the proletariat cry out for liberty, for equality, and for bread. Workers of the world, unite. So, this bar is going to go up. If this gets to the top, we're going to get an event called A World to Win, and it's going to make communist, anarchist, and vanguardist characters appear much more frequently. If time runs out, we're going to get an event called Firebreak, which is going to make the Brazilian socialist movement weakened. And again, I don't think we can prevent this. If we are not able to, I might look into what new options this unlocks. Again, we're currently running a very progressive liberal government under Deodoro Caldwell, the leader of our rural folk, and our intelligentsia. And these are both parties that are highly likely to select socialist type leaders. The other one's the trade movements, the trade unions, which are actually already in the hands of an anarchist. So, there's a lot of interesting options there. So these oil rigs are about to get built. And after that, it's the government admins, and then all this stuff in Cajamarca. So let's get some more stuff queued in before we go any farther here. Antofagasta and... There's another place that was like above... Yeah. Araucania. I think Antofagasta is a better target for reducing the turmoil than Araucania, because Araucania is still not fully incorporated, isn't going to be so for a while. So we're going to have much more effectiveness here due to our high policing. So let's go ahead and build glassworks, paper mills, and food industries. Motor industries. You can always make money selling cars, because we love cars here in Brazil. I'm going to go all the way to the end, queue these up to the top, and then I'm going to grab everything from Cajamarca and Cauca we were also building up. Again, we want to get these government admins built so that we can be able to increase the size of our regulatory bodies basically as soon as we get them. Because regulatory bodies doesn't provide the minimum wage. It only reduces the working conditions. Never mind. That is not going to be a technique that's going to matter. So I am still going to want to increase it because having high population growth is critical for the long-term success of the nation. So we're definitely going to build that up. So where else? We've got a few places in former Argentina that are still in turmoil. Chaco, Jujuy, Santa Cruz, and Chaco are all kind of in that area. And Tucumán. Oh. So I think with Tucumán, we'll be able to deal with this real fast. Food industries cannot hire here, however. Is this just this is just a state with tiny population. Do we have oil? We do have a gold mine. Gold mines are always very well paying. Or reasonably well paying. And then let's throw in electrics industries. We'll throw in about 4 levels of electrics industries. And we'll let it get to the end of the week to finish out those other government admin buildings, and then we'll queue these ones in up to the top. Because this might get us over the line for this state, just on account of we're building fast. A common cost. Seeking to discredit Miguel de Borapero Rohan during a speech on regulatory bodies, a heckler inspired by Gastão Pena inquired about rising bread prices. Miguel de Borapero Rohan asked a nearby grocer, "Regarding the law that you say is for the betterment of the common man, what is the price of... Are you even listening? A grocer here says it's 2 pence for a loaf of bread. As for your question, it's a rather insipid one, no? A vulgar gambit to shock and discredit me rather than offer anything of substance to the discourse. Next. Shock tactics are unbecoming of this nation. Gastão Pena is one of our petit bourgeois technocracy enjoyers. Becomes weaker. Miguel de Borapero Rohan, our reformer in the intelligentsia, gets stronger. We get increased enactment chance, or we should prove the law for false. 1% of Brazilian pops become more loyalist, and 5% enactment chance. I'm going to go with the second one. This might actually significantly help our situation. with respect to, again, we've got a ghost. Country's haunted. In fact, this might get us over the line. It doesn't seem to have changed that much, unless I just... There we go. So that's good. Doesn't appear to have made... I guess 1% is not that much. But having more loyalists is still excellent. You know, overall, we are increasing in loyalists and decreasing in radicals over time as we develop a very strong economy. So I'm kind of... It's kind of sad that we're suffering from, again, a ghost. Investment banks. Oh boy, this'll slow down the spread of communism. So, we've got a new company slot. It's been a long time since we've had a new company slot. Let's take another look at what we can get. I can get a petroleum company. That's be reliable. 10% extra convoys is only mid in terms of usefulness. Peruvian Amazon company. Extra loyalists from standard of living increases. Plus 10% rubber industry employee mortality. That just seems not great. Maybe historically accurate, I don't know. But in any case, I don't want that. Let's see, industrialist political strength, that's a weird one. We got some industry throughput options. We got some textile mills throughput, reduced radicals from standard of living decreases. I've got so much of that. On the other hand, 5% less is a pretty big bonus at my current level. Brazilian orchards. Oh, but these buildings are not productive. Extra migration attractions. Zulia premium oil. Now there's an option that is tempting. Extra birth rate. That's also really nice. Extra paper. Be good for my bureaucracy. Extra bureaucracy would translate into lower mortality, which might be better than birth rate. Okay, here's combined home goods to get us 10% loyalists from standard of living increases. And here's textiles to get minus 10% radicals from standard of living decreases. I think I'm going to go with this one. We're going to establish that, and then in 20 weeks we'll have an absolutely bananas number of reductions in radicalism to due to standard of living decreases, and hopefully that'll be really good. I think the country being haunted is just going to continue to be the case. We've made a little dent in this, but not a meaningful one. So it looks like we're going to have a big communism all over the country. And that's just going to have to be what it is. Can we get regulatory bodies? Excellent. This might de-advance this. No. This one doesn't have, like, baseline conditions, so it is what it is. Alright, so what else can we do in... Oh, that's right, because the rural folk like slavery. Go to public education. But private education is keeping our intelligentsia strong. They're getting actually... where is it? They're getting a 50% increase here from... or some absurd number. Hold on. Where's the... Yeah, I'm not sure, but I feel like it's definitely in that calculation. All right, we got another little by little event. Now I'm going to say we'll make Brazilians of them yet. Doing that thing I always do. All right, so the specter haunting the world. It looks like it's going to continue to haunt Brazil for the foreseeable future, but who knows? Maybe we'll do a big communism. We're still building up our stuff in Antofagasta, or we're now building up our stuff in Antofagasta. I think after that, we're just going to kind of leave it alone and let the construction queue kind of build out what it is. How's the tooling market? Any other place we can sell tools? No? Gosh. We're exporting a ton of tools to the UK. It didn't really occur to me that export route was going to just sort of peter out. Because you're always going to be wanting more tools as the game goes on. I don't need to export all this fish. All of our trade routes are currently productive, and most of them are export routes, except for the silk we're getting from the UK. I think we are getting a small number of clippers. Those are productive. I don't need to worry about them. Alright, so here's the... I've got another Exploiting the Amazon event ready to proc. With socialist ideas sweeping across Brazil, the Caldwell government has determined that drastic concessions to arrest its progress must be considered. There is sufficient momentum for a rapid policy change. The proletariat is everywhere, assuming a threatening attitude, and is beginning to count the ranks of its enemy, far weaker in numbers than itself, and to demand the actualization of its rights. All people are filled with a kind of premonition, and everyone whose vital organs are not paralyzed, faced with shuddering expectation the approaching future, which will utter the redeeming word. Offer greater wages. We get wage subsidies and welfare. We will not capitulate. And this one's trade unions become communists always, basically. Vanguard is communist or anarchist. Or we can say we will not capitulate. Still affects the trade unions. 5% of upper stardom pops in Brazil become more loyalist. Trade unions get much stronger. So I could get wage subsidies. Oh, so this is a shame, because I think if you don't have regulatory bodies, you do get the option of immediately going to workers' protections, but we just rushed that, and that didn't end up happening, which is a shame. But I think wage subsidies is all right. So I'm going to do the first one. And that's wage subsidies. That's going to bother the upper classes, but it is what it is. This is going to increase our maximum welfare. Our welfare investment's okay. We're paying, I think, hardly anything in welfare costs. I'm just letting the week tick over so the numbers realign. Yeah, £14.50 in welfare payments. So I'm not super worried about that. Got another oil event. Encourage this trend. Oil is the future. And then we got another Exploiting the Amazons event. So, this one's our one in Pastaza. And this is that same first event that turns it into a Taming the Amazon event. I'm going to once again go for the migration attraction. And American Senegal sends the United States. I've got a Carta uprising. Now, my help in exchange for huge piles of cash? No? Okay. You know, I feel like we built a bunch of government admin, and all of it has been swallowed by the recently implemented workplace safety, which I completely understand, but still. And now we've got a communist party. Okay, so this is probably the trade unions. Yeah, that's the trade unions. No one else has moved into it yet, so it is what it is. Let's see what the momentum is like. Oh my gosh, they've got a lot of momentum. They got 70% momentum. They're likely to get half the votes. So we're going to see what causes, what comes as a result of that. In the meantime, we're continuing to build up our industry. So the one thing I need to worry about if I go communist is that I am not going to be able to rely on this foreign cash coming in nearly as much, because these other countries are not going to be willing to bankroll me in this way, because they're not going to want me on their side, and I am actually pretty low on military capabilities all told compared to the other European powers, so I need to be cognizant of that in terms of determining what I want to do, because as you can see, you know, France has a 500 battalion army, Britain has a 500 battalion army, Austria has a 500 battalion army, Prussia has a 350 battalion army, Russia a 400 battalion army, Italy and Spain each have about 150, Portugal has none. So I need to be cognizant of that. I got another inefficient agriculture event. I'm going to say we should follow their advice this time. I don't want to piss off the industrialists too much, because I think there's a lot that's going to want to be that the new communist movement is going to want, and we're going to see kind of how they operate. So one thing that's changed as a result of are switching over to having a proper social security system down here in wage subsidies, is that we're no longer, what we had before was poor laws, and poor laws reduce the political strength of pops receiving welfare. Again, not a big deal in a country where not a lot of people are actually getting welfare, but kind of a big deal in a country where they are. So I'm going to not involve myself in this whole situation in Senegal. There's a thing going on in Lanfang. I'm going to not worry about that. We have a revolt in Hamburg. Again, could get obligations, don't necessarily need them. And then we have this. This is a Prussian uprising in Scandinavia. Where is it? Ah, it's here. It's in Holstein. Ooh, achievement unlocked. Stonks. I'm gonna figure out how to. Here we go. Have 3 companies at max prosperity at the same time. Nice. Stonks indeed. I'm actually not gonna intervene in this, I don't think, unless Scandinavia would be interested in some kind of. Be nice to have an obligation. What about the Prussian uprising? No, I'm gonna wait. I don't necessarily want that. I think we are gonna need to build up. Hey, there's the submarine. So now, second Brazilian fleet needs another leader. Let's see. This guy's meticulous and a dockyard organizer and a feminist. Let's bring him right in. We got a lot of dreadnoughts. We got a lot of scout cruisers. If I build up. Okay, so the first Brazilian fleet, the Armada Nacional, at this point, I do have the ability to add submarines to this fleet, which, in the support vessels category, and I think I'm going to, because that will make us a nice, solid fleet. I think we've kind of neglected the Northwest a little bit, so I'm going to do a little bit more development there. And that's going to help with convoy rating and the like. And I'm just going to throw those in at the top because they build so fast that it's just not going to impact anything. Alright, so now we're researching Destroyer along with the tech spread. And we've already had tech spread getting us Dreadnought. So once that's done, I think we're into NCO training, and, well, can I afford to go into NCO training, or do I need to circle back to production tech? Would love oil turbine, obviously. I have some native oil resources, but not everything. And then what about society? I still haven't unlocked hardly any of the tier 4s, but that's okay with me. I don't necessarily need them. I'm trying to fend off political agitation as long as I can, because I don't want fascists in the country. Maybe we'll go. Stormtroopers just give us a flat bonus, which is really nice. But on the other hand, military aviation gives us new production methods, which would be nice. So let's go with military aviation next, and then I think stormtroopers. And that's basically going to take us to the end of the tech tree. To the end of the game. Oh, interesting. An event, Our Great Nation. Seeking to turn the tide of nationalism to the favor of the Liberating Party, Gastel Pena held a patriotic speech in one of Rio de Janeiro's parks. Nationalism is often assumed and unearned superiority of one's... Nationalism is the often assumed and unearned superiority of one's place of birth. It is easily mistaken for something approaching the lines of patriotism, but a sharp eye can spot the difference. A sharper mind knows how to use it as leverage. Truly a hero for the people, 20% momentum to the Liberating Party, or we should ensure the laws are properly secured, 10% momentum, national exceptionalism, extra prestige, protected speech pop support. I don't know. Again, I don't really know how much... Hold on. Let me see if I can figure out if there's a description of impacts the rate at which pops support the protected speech law, but does that help us in some way? I'm not sure. Maybe it'll increase loyalists? I don't know. In any case, let's go with momentum for the Liberating Party. I do like prestige, and we are building up a lot of prestige, but we're very solidly here. Even if France could make its intelligentsia happy, we'd still be ahead of them in terms of prestige at this point. So I'm feeling pretty good about that, but we need to... My goal basically for the end of the run, now that I've secured pretty much all of South America, is to try to finish out exploiting the Amazon, try to reach our population goal of 73.5 million, and try to jockey for position 1 in the rankings, and maybe try to get there. Because those are all things that are, I think, reasonable within the goals we set out for ourselves. Pressure sides of Great Britain, Communist East Africa has no support. This thing is just going to do what it does. This is a revolt in Haiti, a Cuban uprising in Haiti. Well, that sure is an interesting situation, but can I get anything I would want? The Cuban uprising would be willing to become a subject, but I don't necessarily want that. And then, so let's leave that be. This is a situation going on in Bali. I can get a trade agreement or an obligation, but neither of those seems appealing. So let's go ahead and let it go. And then a peasant revolt in the Cape Colonies. Ooh, interesting. But a lot of people seem willing to support Great Britain on this, so I think that's fine. I think we can leave that be for the time being. Again, our construction queue is so very long and so very heavy, but I think we will be able to get where we want to go. We got a glass import route that's unproductive, so I'm going to crash that. Persia sides with Great Britain. That's a shocker. That's a weird one. We're bringing in a lot of silk from Europe, but I think it's kind of unavoidable given that we keep wanting to produce luxury clothes. On the other hand, we could produce fewer luxury clothes and get away with it, since clothes are still pretty expensive in the market. Let's take a look. So there is definitely differential productivity for focusing on regular people's clothes versus producing luxury clothes. So I think we can... Let's grab Pernambuco and switch them over to prioritizing just clothes production. Alright, so we've had our election. The communists have won it. So I'm going to figure out what to do with my... my goodness, that is so much political power. So at this point, I could have the rural folk... the trade unions have won it. So I can have the trade unions by themselves, I can have the trade unions and the rural folk, or I can have the trade unions and the intelligentsia. I'm inclined to go with the trade unions and the intelligentsia, because the intelligentsia have led the country pretty well so far. So let's do it. This might be an error, but we'll see. And this will open up some interesting options. In particular, proportional taxation is very, very appealing to me. Oh, graduated's actually higher. Interesting. That's very rare. All right. Well, let's go with graduated taxation. We're going to have progressive taxation, friends. And we're going to see what that's going to do in the country. For now, though, that's all we've got time for. I've had fun today. I hope you all have had fun as well. And I will see you on the other side.